That's right. So we are learning Likutei on Torah Aleph that every person needs to give koyach to the malchus kedusha, and the way that you give koyach to the malchus kedusha is when you learn Torah with force. You forcefully learn Torah. It says va'az mekabeles hamalchus shu b'chinas nun, and that when you do this, when you join the effort, which is a derivative of Emunah, you connect it with Torah, which is the Chochmah. Essentially what you're doing, you are fusing together the Malchus, which is the Emunah, with the Chochmah, which is the Torah. And that, now, when they are fused, the Chochmah is the source of Chayos. The Chochmah is B'chinas Ches. And when they are fused, the Nun, which is the Malchus, which is the female aspect, the receiver, receives Chayos from the Chestes, that's an interrelationship. And what happens is that the Ches and the Nun get connected, and that equalizes the light of the moon, which is a receptacle, which is the Malchus. Gesundheit, okay, we got it, man. We understand. You have to repeat this. Sorry about that. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I'm just funny, just messing with you, man. I'm sorry. Then the light of the Lavona becomes as evident and as meaningful as the light of the sun. And when this one goes up, this one goes down. The processes that are taking place here is when you take the light of the Emunah and you connect it, you subjugate it to Torah by learning Torah b'koyach. You subjugate the Emunah to the Chochmah. You basically subjugate the evidence before you, reality as you see it, to the Seichel, which is behind it, the Seichel which gives it life. The Seichel that, in other words, you're using reality as a pointer to show you what the Seichel is. It's the opposite of Esau. Esau is living for now. I won the championship. You know, they asked Olympic athletes, if you knew that you're going to do something that you'll be able to win the gold medal in the Olympics, but will kill you in your 30s, would you do it? Most of them said, yeah. They'll do it, you know, just like...
That's how you get the gold medal.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, like, you just do it, you just go for it. Esav wants the here and now. Esav wants the exhilaration. Esav wants the great feeling. That's what he wants.
Esav was an addict.
Yes. He was an addict to feeling good. When you subjugate the Malchus to the Chochmah, in other words, you use the life, as they call life on life's terms, as an indication to what is the Seichel behind it, you connect the two. and the Chet and the Nun get together. Now, when the aspect of Chen, of the Ches and the Nun get together, what happens is that even though you're still within your boundaries, you're still within your limitations, you don't get 60 points of IQ for passing go. You're just the same person. But you get an understanding of Yiddishkeit, which is subjective to you, and it is actually an objective transmission of what the ultimate Chochmah is. The way that it pertains to Yom HaDrega. As we said, for somebody who is in the north to get to Yerushalayim, the Asoga is to go south. Somebody who lives in Beersheba and needs to go to Yerushalayim, the Asoga means to go north. In each one, the Kivyochel or Sechel is to get to Yerushalayim. Each one has his own subjective situation. One is mentally, spiritually in the north, and one is mentally, spiritually in the south. Each one, the light of the Chochmah reflects in a different direction, right? The one needs to go south, the one needs to go north. But that's a faithful representation of the truth, because it leads both of them, even though to Yerushalayim, it leads them to the Tachlis HaAmiti. So the light of the Levana is always a fraction and a certain kind of version of the Sechel Amiti. Why? Because it is the Sechel Amiti corrected to your situation. Right? As it says, a plane that is to get somewhere has to calculate the crosswinds.
You mean the light that shines on the moon? If the sun's over there, then it shines on the moon this way, and you only see this much of it. That's what you're saying?
That as well, but we're saying that Bichlal, the whole union of Miut HaLevona is an union where the reflection, the full reflection of the moon is missing. When your own reflection of the moon, nobody can receive the sun.
It's always missing.
Nobody can receive the light of Kodesh Baruch Hu directly. But when your own individual reflection is still missing,
there's not enough moon to get.
There's not enough reflection to it doesn't lead you to Sechel Amiti. This is Miut HaLevona. That's the which means
that's Miut HaLevona?
Yeah. Miut HaLevona is that you don't get, according to where your station in life, you don't get the full aura of the reflection of the noon is not complete, and therefore cannot give you the enlightenment of the Or Sechel that you need according to where you are. But when you learn Torah b'koyach, when you put koyach into learning Torah, and there is learning Torah b'koyach, of course, the actual learning of the Torah, in which you connect to the actual light itself. But also through life, you need to connect yourself. The way that you do it, you connect yourself to the Emunah all the time. Ibn Nosson says, I don't remember which halacha it is, but I'm sure that we'll find out, that ultimately the light of the Chochmah, the Das, which is in everything, is an extraordinary, exalted, hidden, and unfathomable level. And the connection of reality with the reasons for reality inside, within, is the highest madrega of Asoga in this world. and it's a state that a person gets to only with a lot of work. You can't reach for the chokhmah. The only time you have to reach for the emunah. You reach for the chokhmah, you lose it. It's like over the Dimiyonis and this and that. I heard a wonderful thing from Simcha Balev yesterday. We were talking about, he told me, I said, I'm going through this, I'm going through that, I'm going kacha like this, I'm looking for work here, looking for work there. He says, yeah, that's the way you do it. He says, you take, there's a Ma'aseh of Bitochen that Rabbeinu told us. Do you remember Ma'aseh of Bitochen? Do you remember the Ma'aseh of Bitochen? You don't know. Okay. The Ma'aseh of Bitochen is that the king went spazieren, go around walking, and he sees a house, and a person is sitting there with a beautiful laid table, and he's singing, he's happy. So the king was disguised, and he knocks on the door, and comes in, and the person says, come in, you can spit it, whatever. He says, why are you so happy? Baruch Hashem, everything is fine. He says, what do you do? So he says, I don't remember what he does, I don't know, he chops wood, I don't know, whatever. And he says, what did happen? He says, you're not worried, what's it got to be? You have so much. He says, I don't know, today I went, I chopped wood, have enough, I eat, Baruch Hashem, I'm happy. So the king says, okay, let's check him out if he's really have such bitochen. So he said, you know something? The king can decree everybody needs to chop their own wood. So the person went out, looked for a job to chop wood, sees nobody wants to give him a job. So he gets a different job, I don't know, to draw water or to clean the street, whatever. So in the evening, the king comes and he sees him sitting again with the sword, he's singing, he's happy. He says, what is it happy? He says, so what did you do to get money? He says, I went and he says, nobody wants to chop wood. Suddenly the king said, the king got crazy and he said that nobody can give anybody else a chop wood. So he says, so I went and I drew water. So the king says, okay. So he came up with a decree. Everybody has to draw their own water. He cannot let everybody, he goes outside. The person goes the next day. Nobody wants to give him a job to draw water. So he says, okay, something, we'll clean the street. I don't remember the different kind of story. At the end, he sees that nobody's allowed to give anybody any jobs anymore. So he rents himself out to be in the king's army. And again, each day he says he wants to conscript to the king's army, but he's given a tnai with his officer. Every day you give me the schar for the day. There's no problem. And he sits and he eats and the king comes to visit. The person is sitting there enjoying the Suda. So the king says, how can you this? He says, that's the story. They give him every day. So the king said, now no more every day, monthly salary. So the person saw this not going on. So he took his sword and he took off the handle and he sold the blade. He bought himself a Suda. So he put a wooden blade instead. I was enjoying the used blade. So again, he sold the blade. And as soon as the king comes, where you get the money from? So he told him, I sold the blade, whatever it is. So the king said, okay. So the king says, okay. The next day he comes with the decree. There's one guy that has the death sentence, and he has a death sentence, and he's calling upon this soldier to execute him.
With his sword.
With his sword, to bring his sword, he's supposed to execute him. So the person says, what are you going to do? He's got a wooden sword, what's he going to do? So the person is saying, what to do. So he stands there, and he says, okay, I don't know if this person is guilty or not. If this person is not guilty, then Hashem should do a miracle and my sword will turn to wood. And he takes out the sword and everyone sees it's wood. So the king starts laughing. He says, okay, you're right. You're right, let's go. And you and everything. So the Psicha told me,
sounds like you.
So the what? Yeah, Rabbeinu says this Ma'aseh is called Ma'aseh from Bitochen. So Psicha told me yesterday. He says all these stories that we hear from Bitochen, from the Noel Melech, and the Baal Shem Tov. He says, on our level, it's the Myonis. You know, you don't go, and the parrots and the cats come out, and this and that, whatever it is. These mices that you hear from Bitochen, he says, on our level, it's the Myonis. That Maisa of Rabbeinu, that's Bitochen according to our level. You go, you try, you test, you do. Today you do this, today you do that. What do you want me to do this? Okay, I'll do this. How much do you want? I'll do for this. Okay, good. That's Bitochen according to...
Big chizuk.
That is, says that's Bitochen on our level. Not, he went and Ashwensha went and he knocked on the door and then he went away and this is not our level. Our level is you go, what do you know? You can't chop wood, I'll draw water. Can draw water, clean the street. You can clean the street. It doesn't matter. You knock all the time, you do whatever you do. That's Bitochen. At Khan.
Right.